Well, welcome to mid Norfolk, and we've got a bit of a building project on the go at the moment. We're just now at the first fix electrical stage of this real transformation of agricultural buildings into a very large kitchen, dining area, lounge area, and a utility or pantry area. Let's take you through and show you some of the interior spaces that we're developing here. Now, this used to be a small horse stable on the back of the main barn. You can see the height of the walls or the back walls of these barns. And these buildings really have been developed or built over a course of several centuries. This building here on the back was an afterthought to the main barn and wasn't tied in with the brickwork at all. Lots of beams and different stages and ages of bricks. It's really fascinating when you start taking a building like this apart to see all the different elements to it that you didn't realise were there, with doorways going through, old windows that have been bricked up, and all sorts of other bits of features and concrete walls, windows and small openings that you just didn't realise were there. That was the main stable door looking back out where the horses used to come in. Didn't realise for years there was a window above it, but just look at the angle on that lintel across the top. That's going to take a little bit of work getting back into some condition, but all this brickwork is going to be repaired. This is going to be, well, we're calling it a scullery now because we've gone all posh. Not a utility room, not going to have just utilities in it. On that back wall there, we're going to have a freestanding counter with a sink unit in it, with space underneath the counter for some white goods, dishwasher perhaps. We haven't decided whether we're having one or not, but certainly a tumble dryer and washing machine. And then the doorway going through to the main area of the barn, we're now thinking rather than having a door as such, we may just keep as a plain opening. This is the one of the few walls where we can keep the exposed brickwork. Now it's going to be a different variety of age and size of brick, including some old Edwardian, Georgian, and probably even Tudor, handmade soft Norfolk red bricks down in the base. This element of the wall's been rebuilt because we've moved the door in, which was very close to the end wall here, to make the opening more functional. Let's go through into the main body of the barn now. This is going to be an absolutely wonderful space. Just let me come back against this end wall and pan you up into what's going to be a vaulted ceiling. You can see the first elements of the insulation going into the roof space here. It's not going to be completely beamed out in the traditional English fashion, but we are going to keep these main purlings and the cross members, and these beautiful great big beams are going to be retained and on view. The main barn opening here is all going to be glass with French windows in the lower section. There is going to be a beam across the halfway section because the sheer weight of this glass to keep it in a wooden frame was going to be too large, and we took the advice of the carpentry company to put glazing units across the top and the door unit across the bottom. But the light on this southern aspect is simply going to be fantastic. What we're also going to do on this end wall, there is, now you can't see it on this aspect, but in the central section there is a chimney breast on the room behind which has a log fire on. You may have seen that room when we had Poppy's puppies years ago. It was where we kept the puppies warm with the log fire going over winter. But these two side aspects, so on the left aspect and the right aspect of this wall, are going to be opened up with steel lintels at ceiling height. And the aspect here is going to flow through on a single level through into the garden room with, again, French windows behind going out onto a patio area with a dining table and patio set. Another stable's been opened up on this aspect. And again, we've taken the height with the steels right up to the roof level here. And this is going to be another set of bifold doors looking out onto the northern aspect of the vegetable garden, which is going to be lovely. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, actually 4 aspects on this side. There's Kate just trying to plan where things are going. We've discovered this fantastic tall window on this easternly aspect, which is going to be fantastic for the morning light. We're going to retain the window as a single window going full height. We're going to brick up the bottom bit because we've got to, in this area, create some space for kitchen units. And there's going to be a sink in front of that window, and then the very limited area of fitted units in the kitchen going into this corner and extending out. You can see the window being put back in onto, again, the southern aspect. So that feeds round onto the side of where the big barn style opening is going to be. This window, again, it's fascinating when you do these buildings. Look at the lintel there. There hasn't been a window in here for the period that we've owned it, and certainly on the outside wall it's very subtle. You can hardly make out, but when you start looking you can see that actually our architect has redrawn in a window that was there maybe 100 years ago with just a wooden plank for the lintel above. That's going to be replaced with steels, obviously. But again, a sink under here. So we're going to have two sinks in this kitchen area. Will give us beautiful aspects up towards the entrance to the house. Right, and one final element to talk to you about that we've got planned in. You can see the first fixed electrics have already been put in place, and two very substantial power cables. Let me focus on those. Not your usual power cables. These are 32 amp power cables that have been put as feeds to a Arga supply that is going to stand freestanding on this wall. This is one of the internal walls that we don't have to insulate as part of the building regulations. You can see the old bricks partly have been taken out where they've been damaged by the internal wall that used to form the back end of this stable. You can see the top there with some ironwork bracing these walls together. These are going to be filled back in with bricks and repointed. We are hoping, I know you're going to have mixed feelings about this, but just look at this beautiful period feature of the old iron horse ring that they've had salt licks or feeds on, and the horses over the centuries have worn away the bricks and the lime mortar. We are going to try and retain all these period features. This is a barn. We don't want it too perfect. Our plans for this are more along the lines of a National Trust kitchen than a fitted modern or contemporary kitchen. So we're going to retain just about as many of the features that building regs will allow us to do. So that's the first look. It's going to be fascinating seeing this develop over the next few weeks and months. We're about halfway through the building project here. A lot more destruction still to be done on this wall to knock it through, which is going to completely change the aspects again. The underfloor heating all has to go in. The next insulation level and concrete floor levels are bringing all this level up probably another 60 or 70 centimetres, maybe more. I'm not exactly certain where the floor level is. I suspect it could be the bottom of that batten, but we will see. We're still going to lose a little bit of height in here, but my oh my, it's going to be a fantastic room with all this height and exposed beamwork. So a project to get our teeth into and to hopefully share with you over the next few months. Thanks for watching.